Welcome back to Crown's Crypto Cave, and a happy little Sunday morning to you out there in cryptocurrency land, getting on your way to create a good old goat Jesus. I'm just waking up myself and looking at the charts. There's actually plenty to talk about, so we're going to be focusing on a little bit more long-term ideas during this video. However, we will talk about short-term ideas as well, but without wasting any more time, let's get in the charts right over here. The good old live scene as we plot out the most important and biggest areas so far. We got this horizontal support right around 6150, and as long as we are above there, I have to adamantly say it's very difficult to discuss, very low target ideas, talking about like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 type things until that area is actually broken. Really don't want to be positioning myself to kind of look at that area, although there are certainly a lot of things in the charts kind of suggesting otherwise. But to the contrary, with yesterday night's action, which I was asleep for, unfortunately, it looks to me like we are actually poking our head out above this small descending triangle resistance trend line right over here, right around 6430-ish area. Now, this would be the more preliminary resistance, not as important as the as our bigger resistance, of course. And if I do adjust this for the 4-hour time frame, you'll see that actually it has not necessarily officially been broken yet. It's just been tested over here. So as always, make the trend line on the time frame that you're looking at. So no, it's not a confirmed break just yet. We are brushing up against this resistance at the current moment in time. Is this a flag or not is a real question, though, as Bitcoin has kind of barred up, and I absolutely fucking hate that I just used that word barred from the weekend low right over here, right around the 6,400 level. So this is going to be a very interesting thing, because as CMEs closed on Friday around 63.90, we have to be aware that it's very likely that it probably comes back down and fills a gap before the day begins, when CMEs open at about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe it is. I believe it's around that time, but feel free to correct me. It might be 5. Anyways, if we were approaching it, or sorry, if we were above here or in this range right here, as the CMEs do begin to open, I'd actually look to be a buyer probably around 63.90. If we're opening up above 63.90. Now, if it's a contrary situation where you're actually opening up below 63.90, well, then I'd look to be a seller probably. But again, a lot of hours left in the day for that to happen. That's kind of what I'd be thinking right here, right now. But as it stands, a very critical point. So if we were to open up above, and sorry, the spot exchanges, meaning like the BitMEXs, the GDAXs, not Finex, because that one's just fucking crazy, but the Bitstamps, all these US dollar exchanges, which are a little bit more stable, if those ones do open up above 63.90, that could present a very interesting situation where Bitcoin does get given a little bit of that extra push, so to say. Anyways, while we're over here, I do want to denote the big bad supports to be aware of. Right over here, we got 62.50. If you were to break this kind of area right over here, right around 63.50, and of course we got this current area that we're brushing up against right here, right now. Also, your 4-hour 200 exponential and 200 simple moving average kind of agreeing with this horizontal right here. So good, good risk reward plays to be made no matter what. Right here, it's going to take a little bit of waiting, of course, as you are right at a resistance. I should be selling, and I actually did sell a little bit of Butyrol, although I'm not sure how long I'll be holding that one, because that one actually does look like it wants to pump up a little bit. Anyways, we do still have this trend line over here to kind of contend with. However, if you were to get back above about 64.80, I believe that this one would probably be, it probably gets respected at first, but it probably gets blown through as soon as 64.80 is taken out. So again, just wanted to kind of be aware of that. Of course, if 64.80 is successfully killed, with a major volume pump up above, well, then I'd be looking towards this area right over here as my next big resistance, right around 67.50-ish area, for the next big kind of selling, sellers kind of come back in, and it's going to be like a range, right? It's going to be like a range of this area right over here, just kind of going off of my swing highs, my swing lows. Good confluence with this area over here, which I really like. That's a very important historical area. Anyways, when it comes down to it, lower time frame oscillators, meaning this 4-hour over here, we are gaining momentum on the 4-hour stochastics over here. Not only that, but the 8-hour as well, I believe, just crossed up and over 10-hour. And if you're in the technical analysis program, you know the validity of this. Also crossing up and over, and 3-hour actually hinting at across the downside. So that would be a counterpoint to that. You are at a lot of resistance, and you're not necessarily creating any sort of divergence over here just yet. just yet being the key word. I do see divergence on like an hourly, I believe it was. No, it's not. I only saw it. Sorry, I only saw that on Mr. Buterol, on Mr. Bitcoin himself. No divergence, even on the hourly. Maybe if you go down to like a 30-minute, you might see some. Nope, no divergence here either from what I see. Maybe like a 10-minute. And yes, we have found some divergence. There you go. We got some divergence right there. Houston, we have some divergence, but as you can see, this might just kind of turn into a flag over here. At the end of the day, I still think being a little bit patient over in this area is probably the best process, just because your higher time frames are still pretty damn, pretty damning to actually put it bluntly. As long as you're below this yellow 20-minute exponential on the daily time frame, really hard, really don't want to be jumping the gun, because again, if you were to even close above it, you're probably going to get a second chance to buy around it. So again, I just don't see the rush to be a buyer right now. Although it is certainly hinting. Again, daily stochastics, I believe, are losing momentum over here in the neutral zone. So fair enough. That would be a counterpoint to what we were just saying. RSI is neutral, using the exponential as support. So again, a little bit of a counterpoint to all that. And let's go to the 2-day as well. The 2-day, and I'm going to go over here to Bitstamp because it just has better price action history. And the 2-day is more bearish than anything to me as well. The higher time frames, really nothing has changed. To be quite blunt, you got the 2-day death cross over here, candlestick death cross, right over here, and then you've been respecting this yellow 20-minute exponential for the like last couple months or so. Still using this as resistance. So as long as you're kind of living below here, again, it's a hard chart to love. I'd really like to see this broken and maintained above. Same thing with the 3-day over here, for even a longer time, actually, going all the way back to mid-September. Again, and your 21 exponentials are the way around 65-80ish area. But I do believe that if you did see the 2-day kind of take off, then you're probably going to see the 3-day follow. Even if you saw that the 3-day kind of take out this guy right here, that would be impressive to me. Just take out the high of this guy to be a little bit more obvious. 6,500 would be what I'm looking for. So again, there are so many signals here and such great opportunity with the trade in this range. It's just, in my opinion, best to just wait this one. If you do want to take a long, that's what I'm looking for. I want to see some higher levels being closed above about, let's just call it 6,500. Yes, it is 6,480 technically speaking, but 6,500 and then obviously 6750 is the next area that I'm looking at. By the same token, as long as you're kind of in this range, you do have a lot of resistance right where we are right now. So selling the resistances have been pretty damn profitable in the last 10.5 months. I will say that. Anyways, if you were to kind of reject off this range right here, the next kind of support that I'm looking at is the one that held up this weekend right around 6350-ish area. If that area got destroyed, then I start looking at 6250 as the next big bounce area. And then if you were to break 6250, I'd start to get pretty damn big into like red alert zone. I'd probably start taking some preliminary shorts. And but again, I take that back. Shorting this range just has not been a good idea in the last 10.5 months. If 6150 is broken on the other hand, then yes, I would be extremely interested in taking a major short, because again, remember, the higher time frames are unchanged right here. The higher time frames are very unchanged, actually, just putting it back on over here. The 2-day death cross, we have the weekly 21 exponential cross on the downside of the green 55. And remember, the reason why these are important is because it tells us what the bots and the algorithms are likely doing in this market. Jesus Christ, man, can you start slurring your words? I actually went to bed at like 10 p.m. last night. But you get the same sort of crossover here, the yellow and the green 21 and 55 exponentials. You pop back over here and test the 21 exponential, and then boom, reject back down, and then actually kind of hang around in a lull over here for a lull for the next 3 weeks before making your ultimate descent to the actual capitulation bottom. Compare that with what we've seen so far, and again, you can't compare things like one for one, so you're not going to see like every little thing happen exactly the way that it does. And I know a lot of people like to look at fractals that way, and that's what I absolutely cannot stand about the word fractal. No one fucking uses the word fractal in a professional setting. Not that matters. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. I'm like, I never wore a suit when I was on the floor. but it just kind of implies that sort of nature. And yes, I like looking at exponential moving averages and simple moving averages because they kind of giving you an idea of over time what is the relation to that price action with the way that the Boston algorithms are kind of handling it and their inputs on it, so we can kind of gauge relations in that way, but not necessarily in like a one-to-one candlestick formation. That's, I think, more misleading than anything, and people kind of perpetuating that myth are, you might get it right once or twice, but I've seen a lot of people go broke that way too. Anyways, so if Bitcoin were to end here or lower by end of day, and yes, we do close the weekly later tonight, that I would interpret this as a wick and rejection of the yellow 21 exponential. Same thing with the 2-day as well. We had the death cross over here. We test the 55 exponential over here. Same thing that you had in 2014. And again, for both these scenarios, this is the only other time it's ever even happened in Bitcoin's almost 10-year history. Right over here, here's your death cross, here's your test, and then boom, down. You can even see over here that it really looks like Bitcoin was trying to dig itself out of the hole over here. In fact, I'm sure. Oh wow, you didn't even have. I was gonna say you probably had some bearish divergence on the 2-day to kind of tip you off, but no, you did not. It was actually gaining momentum. So this was a pretty damn good bull trap. That's what I'm really concerned with over here that we might be witnessing, just because you look at the other metrics of the market, especially. Oh man, where did I put that? The MVT signal there. Jesus Christ, man. Stop fucking around, Crown. And it rhymes, so it's true. Anyways, the MVT signal over here definitely still hanging up very, 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 very high. And anytime that it gets this high, it typically comes back down to where my cursor currently is and kind of resets around there. And you can see that it's really at one of the highest points that it's ever been at in Bitcoin's almost 10-year history, and it's called every damn top perfectly, and tops being called anytime where it's above my cursor right now, right around this 150 area. So again, that's what makes me very scared. Not scared, it's like I ain't scared of nothing. No, of course. I mean, you should be scared if you don't think that this thing can't go down, then yes, you should be scared. But hey, with perspective comes opportunity. That's where you should not be scared, because yes, just because all this information is in here does not mean it's going to happen 100%, but it does present the scenario for that. So it's not like, it's not like just a very low probability thing. It's actually quite high right now. Again, with our high time frame exponentials and simple moving averages, with our MBT signal, with our altcoin market cap over here, which is actually poking its head out above. Okay, so fair enough. This would be a counterpoint to what I'm saying as well, although not confirmed just yet. I need to see the daily close above here, but I'm not seeing the volume that I need to see on a breakout. So again, a lot of people got caught in this scenario. I believe it was like a week or two ago, right over here. Yeah, thinking that this was some sort of a symmetrical triangle that you broke out and it's going back to all-time highs, 8,000, 7,000, whatever the fuck. But no, you never had breakout volume over here, so there was never really any reason to think that was a breakout. I mean, this over here, you need to see something that stands out head and toes, head and heels, or whatever the fuck that saying is, above the current price action, which is actually what you see over here on Stamp. So this is impressive, right? This is impressive, and this is certainly not cut and dry right now, because we did have that situation on Monday with Tether, right? With Tether kind of tanking all the way down here to about 98 cents. And we've been monitoring this for quite some time now. Tether typically maintains its pegging around, 4 decimal places of $1 over here. About 3 weeks ago, started, crawling down and finding comfort right around 99 cents. Then a little bit later, just more progressively worse. And then Monday, it got all the way down to 85 cents. Why did that happen? Of course, anyone can tell like a story. If you listen to Bitfinex, it's due to some sort of, I don't know, like fucked up accounting type shit, and their bankings just don't like them, or HSBC apparently doesn't like them either, which is like the best bank for drug lords and shit. If you're not aware of HSBC, they handle like drug lords banking accounts, but they rejected Finex. I don't know why, but it is a little bit interesting. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm not into stories. I'm into charts over here. It's like a sexual thing, right? Anyways, we are right around 97 cents right now. So when Tether goes down, naturally the price on Finex with Bitcoin with relation to Tether will go up, which is exactly what we saw on Monday, right? Finex getting head and shoulders above any other thing. Yes, that's sustained. Head and shoulders above anything else, right around getting almost all the way up to 7,800. Basically, yeah, about a $1,200, $1,300 Tether candlestick in the span of one day. But again, that represents the 15 cent premium of Tether, or I suppose discount, which of course makes the price go up in relation. But remember this, no markets operate in a vacuum. So when the price of Finex goes up like this, right? When the price of Finex goes up like this, there's going to be some sort of an arbitrage opportunity, even with the U.S. dollar exchanges, because people are going to be buying and selling. People are getting liquidated left and fucking right over here. On Finex, and so that that creates indiscrepancies. So then someone's going to pick up the arbitrage. It's just bots. It's as soon as they see that, oh, I can lock it in here and here simultaneously, and then boom, done, and I lock in like 100, like probably $100 in some cases on that one. Then Edge, then fuck yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then that forces up the prices on the spot exchange, because they're gonna buy the USD pairing with Bitcoin, and then sell it over here, because there's probably some sort of discrepancy even with Tether's discount. So again, by that sort of mechanism, everything kind of the tide rises all. But remember, this is sort of a very unique situation. Tether is not really supposed to be, okay, not supposed to be. Its use case is that it's not supposed to be with that far away from $1. It's supposed to maintain its pegging around $1, and it's very, 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 very suspect that that is really struggled to maintain its pegging around $1 for the last 3 weeks now, and getting progressively worse. Again, right now around 97 cents. So you really have to be asking yourself, why is Tether, as a corporation whose business interest is to keep themselves alive, why are they not coming in and stepping in and putting in and maintaining that peg? And you really have to be asking yourself, as an investor, and ask yourself this too. This is great that you're a fucking person, so you probably have like similar emotions to other people in this market. Probably. That's why charts typically work similarly over time. Just saying. Anyways, ask yourself, why would you use Tether when you know that it can float around when you have other options? Obviously you can use US dollars, but I understand that there is like with people who aren't necessarily from like the US. But there's also other stable coins as well, which are apparently audited and are accounted for, from what I understand. Again, I am not a master accounter or like a data forensics or whatever the fuck, I don't even know, CSI Bitcoin over here. But what I can say is that hey, you got options, so you have to be asking yourself, why would people want to use Tether, knowing that it can float around and that at any moment in time they can really get caught with a red dildo up their bunghole? Well, that is something to be aware of now, isn't it? Because when it comes down to it, Tether just by the nature of holding it around here for so long really does have to, I would be pretty damn scared about it. Now, I guess it has done this before, last December, actually getting a premium above $1, maintaining that. But that was when Bitcoin was actually rallying to the goddamn moon. Compare that with what's going on right now. Now, you do see this in April of last year as well, coming all the way down to about 89 cents. So, there are other situations where we look at this, but typically speaking, you want to see it look like this. Now, here's the thing. When Tether goes down, the price of Bitcoin goes up. Again, by that metric of just arbitrage, opportunities. So you have to be asking yourself, if Tether really does implode, which again is out of the scope of this video. I'm not the person to go to for that. Again, I don't fucking know. You gotta go to the CNN and then the Fox of crypto, which is, you got Flibber on one side, who's great. I fucking love Flibber. I think he's great. Don't take that as like a negative thing. And then you got Bitfinex on the other side. So like, it's like the CNN and the Fox of fucking crypto over here. And of course, I don't think anyone who's not directly involved in any of these in actual Tether themselves and Finex themselves can know. We're all just kind of like going off of hearsay, right? But hey, just kind of, it's probably somewhere in the middle, as typically most things are. Anyways, back now over here. Oops, let's get on over to GDAX. And I do want to show a little bit more into the wallet. This is the Bitcoin wallet of Finex, actually, which we do have data for as well. And this blue line graph over here represents the actual number of Bitcoins in their wallet, which was the number one biggest wallet about 3.5 to 4 weeks ago now, at about 230,000 Bitcoins at its ultimate high, at its ultimate peak. And you can see this, a sharp decline, which you really don't have anything else similar to that. For this prolonged period of time. I don't know what this is over here. I'm guessing this is just a one-off right here. But But now it is all the way down here, which is literally almost about 100,000 Bitcoins less than what it had 3.5 weeks ago. So we have a very interesting, this kind of pulls into, maybe another side of this, equation, right? Because what we have is we have data for Tether losing its value. We have Finex pumping up, and then we have Bitcoins leaving Finex, right? So, putting two and two together, you can kind of say, okay, what probably happened on Monday, whatever caused that rally, you can say that it was, I don't think news really caused that rally, but whatever it was, Tether starts going down, so people likely start to let go of their Bitcoins, or of their Tethers. Apologize. Let me rephrase that. People start to let go of their Tethers, trading them for Bitcoin typically, because Bitcoin's usually paired up with it, and it looks like we have a mass exodus of Bitcoins out of the good old Finex over here as well. Pair that with the information that we have over here with the overall longs on Finex, right? Overall longs on Finex on Monday, when there was a almost 12 to 1300 Tether increase, actually dropped off the face of the earth. We lost about 6,000 longs and continue to do so and continue to lose them. As you can see over here, there's just, people are just getting out of their positions. Now, of course, probably a lot of people taking profits. You'd imagine when people are on over $1,000 profit, probably a good idea to think about that. Probably a good time. But hey, it is a little bit concerning that you're really starting to see this accelerate down now. Shorts over here, we have something interesting as well, because basically 10,000 shorts. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you if you got liquidated on Monday, but this next part I think is kind of funny. So 10,000 shorts got liquidated right here. That's not funny at all. But what is funny is that over the next 3 days, shorts add back another 6,000 coins. So basically, very little changed. And now they're letting go of them again. So we have we do have something interesting going on over here. Let's go into the actual data on these guys over here. Here's the shorts over here paying a rate of 0.017%, which is actually higher than the longs, which we haven't seen in a long time. To use an alliteration over there, but or is that even alliteration? No one even knows. Hey, Deribit, I'm on that exchange, by the way. If you want to check out Deribit, I do have an affiliates link in the description of this video. Of course, you don't have to use it or anything like that. I just like it because you can actually trade on it. I just want you to know that you can actually trade on it when Bitcoin moves. So if Bitcoin does have a breakout, which is kind of likely, which becomes more and more likely with each and every passing week, you're probably going to want to be able to trade that. And if you're on BitMexico, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyways, over here, longs are paying a rate of 0.016%. Short details, we have about a little under 5,000 hedge shorts. So that means that we have really about 28,000 open shorts. Compare that with literally 20,000 open longs, which is quite low indeed. So shorts are squeezable here, no doubt about that. Shorts are certainly squeezable. They feel so good. But you look at this, you look at the data over here on the longs, and right, the only time that Bitcoin really ever, not the only time, we don't have that much data is the problem. But in October, November, December of last year, there were about this many open longs on Finex. But again, is this because of the questionable activities of Tether and Finex? Finex's activities. Just people kind of turned off by that, and they just don't want to have positions on Finex. Or is that, or do we see something similar going on? This would suggest that there's plenty of dry powder to go in dry on these longs. But again, the rate that longs are paying right now in relation to shorts is very interesting, given the amount of aggregate coins long on Finex, because you'd imagine that if there's a very low amount, then there should be a low interest rate to kind of reflect the low demand of it. But I wouldn't say this is certainly not high, like 0.05. But it's also certainly, it's not necessarily low either. So, all right, back now over here to the good old charts, the good old magical charts. Again, just want to point out on CMEs over here, we closed Friday at 63.90. So really, that's really what I'm going to be basing my next big trade off of, is do we open above or below 63.90, and then I'm just gonna play the gap, and that's actually been pretty damn profitable. That's what got you this move over here. That's what got you this move over here to back up. That's I think that's really been the way. Although you can get a situation like this where, you know, you gap up and then you don't come back down and fill it for another 3 days. So if you did like just blindly short off this guy right here, not too good at all. So yeah. Okay, all right. And if you bought this gap over here, you did not do so well in the daily. But again, it's probably best to be done on the hourly, especially when you're talking about, major momentous moves. Okay, so back now over here to good old GDAX. And to me, it just looks like Bitcoin's trying to flag out right now. Again, I don't see divergences on even the hourly, so you're not going to see it on any other higher time frame. Higher level stochastics are they do look like they have plenty of room to go right here. Now, again, remember all this area right here is just a thick piece of resistance. Oh, by the way, I've been getting a shit ton of interest in in my other indicators over here, my stochastics and Fibonacci. If you're interested in that, definitely go check out the link in the description of this video called the Crown Jewel Mastery indicators. A nice little clickbaity name, but hey, there you go. That's where you can find out more information about that, because it's going to take way too long to describe it in this video. But yeah, our high time frame oscillators are showing that there is room to go. 12 hour over here. 12 hours still actually pointed down, but losing momentum. So I should say that. What about the 2-day? 2-day we will get a new 2-day tick later tonight, so this could change around, but for now it's still down. 3-day last tick was up. 3-day last tick was up, and weekly, to be to also keep it into context, weekly is losing momentum. A lot of the time, what I like to do is like on the retest back of the more critical zone, I'll actually buy it. Doesn't always work, but hey, we're just gonna have to see. I really want to see how the other ones kind of react. Anyways, let's go over here. Let's see if Japan says anything different about the charts. Japan looks like it actually has or is hinting at a breakout right now. Let's go down to maybe like an 8 hour, because I'd like to see that one a little bit more. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, so the 8 hour is hinting at a breakout right now, actually, above this area. I do put a lot of weight on Japan. They just seem to they just seem to get the price action right a lot of the time. Obviously, you'll have a resistance right here, right around 726,500 yen, which is really fucking hard number to even think about. But hey, again, it's the same sort of setup over here. So, at the end of the day, you really got to be asking yourself, where is appropriate to really be putting risk on. For me, I'd say above about 6,500 is where I start to become a lot more interested. Let's go over and check out GBTC over here. $7.05 close on Friday. This is what makes me concerned, because the stock market closed pretty damn weak on a major support. GBTC, which typically is a leading indicator for Bitcoin itself, at close in the day, people are going to be calling this an inverted hammer. It's like, no, it's not an inverted hammer. Jesus Christ, man. Just because it looks like this is not an inverted hammer. This was a doji rejection right here, though. And that is pretty damn clear to me. But you do have kind of an island bottom right here. Maybe you are just filling the gap. So if this one does pop back up on Monday, back above $7.31, very likely you're going to see Bitcoin break this next big resistance and probably find its way to about 67.50, something like that, I would imagine. And then obviously the next big resistance in this area right here, $8.15. Again, it's going to depend largely on traditional markets over here. We'll just quickly cover it. This is SPYs right here. Closing the day and resting on the 200 exponential and 200 simple. I really don't like this. Very, 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 very weak close, but it's not until we can both open and close a candlestick below this guy where it's time to be a little bit more, bearish, I suppose you could say. Until that happens, you could very easily pop back up here and tag like 284 and 284 and a half, and you don't really want to be sitting through that. But again, we're going to have to wait until Monday to figure that one out, to be quite honest. And we're probably going to have to wait until Monday to get a real move on Bitcoin, as well, most likely. You are getting some pretty nasty crosses over here on the daily, similar to Bitcoin's weekly, which really don't like that. But if we go over here to the weekly, that's a clear rejection of the 21 exponential to me, and I'd be very hesitant right here. I do think that we probably do see some more downside, to be honest with you. I think that we do see some more downside now. I've kind of seen what I need to see in order to be a little bit more of a believer in that right now. But again, it's traditional markets, so it takes a long time. I'm not saying that, you just get fucking blindly short right now. Okay, so back on over here to good old Coinbase. There's a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. We covered GBTC, we covered that. We covered. Do we want to talk about the dollar? Probably not. Probably not good for this video. Let's talk about higher time frames over here. Let's go to the weekly. And let's actually go to the inverted chart over here on BitMEX first. This is going to be more important for today. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of things to be aware of on the weekly right now. Okay, weekly on BitMEX, right? Because I've actually have a fresh chart over here. The way that I look at this is that I'd be very hard pressed to not look at this and say it's an ascending triangle. The biggest gripe would be if I put it on like a lower time frame, then the volume characteristics would not necessarily be proper, but and the daily does look like it wants to kind of break here. Although I'm not necessarily drawing it correctly either, so that's not really fair. I'm not being fair to the price action, man. Let's see. Ooh, or has it already broken? Nah, I don't think so. So I'm like, yeah, there we go. Okay. So that's what I got. But again, if we go to the 3-day, it makes a little bit more sense to me. This looks like an ascending triangle, and I have to interpret it as an ascending triangle until proven otherwise. And how do I get proven otherwise? Well, we have to break it, to the downside, which would be would be around 6,500. Until that happens, you can make a measure move on this baby to about 4,000 area, and that's an area of particular interest because if we go over here to my stamp chart and go to the 3-day, come on, baby, do it. Yeah, there we go. You'll notice that on the 3-day weekly, wow, so convoluted right there. On the weekly 200 exponential right here, that would be coming in around that 4,100 level as well. Not only that, but we have the 786 Fibonacci retracement coming in right around there as well. And also this dotted trend line represents the 10-year logarithmic trend line of Bitcoin that's never been broken in Bitcoin's almost 10-year history. And that would actually be kind of in the area. Now, it's actually quite a bit higher right now. It's actually around 5,000 to be quite honest. So it is of interest. So we have a lot of things kind of pointing in that area is the big thing to be aware of. Not only that, but again, if we do put on the good old, I got to take on my fib over here. If we do put on the good old volume profile, that's going to show that, hey, you do have good confluence with this area. Remember, 4,100, as soon as you kind of lose this last honest support right over here, right around the 6,000s area, I don't see really much stopping you from about 4,000 area, when looking at the volume profile. So again, when it comes down to it, I'm looking at this and we have a lot of things kind of aligning with that area. To kind of wrap it up one more time, we have, a couple of horizontals coming in right there. If we just flash that, yeah, there's your horizontal right there. We have the 200 exponential. We have a measure move off the potential ascending triangle. We have the volume profile. We have what else do we have? We have the 10-year logarithmic trend line. And if we were to make, I'll leave it right there. I think that covers it for that. And also the 786 Fibonacci retracement. So a lot of things kind of converging on that area. But again, I feel dirty about talking about this because until 6150 is broken, it's very difficult. While that is a very possible and likely situation, it has not been profitable. And as long as 6150 holds, I don't think that it's appropriate to really be, it's appropriate to think about, of course, you want to have perspective, but it's not appropriate to I don't want to represent my position that way just yet. Also, all of your higher level exponentials, I mean, they're just kind of suggesting, there's pressure on price action, but hey, until it actually happens, got to be careful. Let's look at the 10 simple as well. I want to kind of put this guy on for a second over here. 10 simple is now sloped to the upside. So we are converging now. We're converging rather than diverging before. So this would be a little bit more positive as well, as you do get a sharp uptick over here. Sharp uptick. Not only that, but 2-day, I believe that we're flirting around with it. Of course, there's a lot of hours left in the day. Could still very, very, very easily close below the 10 simple. If you do close below the 10 simple, you're below all major moving averages. 3-day over here, same sort of thing. You're actually using it as resistance, and you can actually see the highest time frame not the highest time frame, but the weekly over here, still using it as resistance. So as long as the weekly is kind of closing below it, I don't really see any, it's still really, really hard to get bullish as well. It's just one of those things. So what would make me bullish? And we have to define, what does bullish even mean over here? Because people use bullish and bearish in the complete wrong ways, to be quite honest. Bullish and bearish are supposed to refer to big long-term trends, not necessarily fucking 10-minute candlesticks, Anyways, when it comes down to it, what do I need to see? Okay, well, first things first. Let's go back to the daily over here. And I'd love to see first take out this smaller descending triangle. That would not necessarily make me bullish though. I would take a long above 6,800. I'd be a little bit more interested as that would likely be the greater descending triangle. Let's see if my eye would be about right. Just done this so many goddamn times that, oh my God, yes, there it is, right around there, right around 6,800-ish area. Yeah. If you get above that area, that's where I start to have to taking positions, because you are breaking out of something that we've been living under for the last more than 10.5 months now. Where I start to get very interested is above 7,400. Where I have no question to ask is 10,000. So 7,400, I'd really start to scale into some bigger positions. And I think it'd be appropriate to do so, but those are kind of the areas that I'm looking for. And then again, 10,000 would be where I say, hey, I think it's extremely unlikely that you're going to go below 6,000 if you get above there. So again, until Bitcoin gets above 10,000, it's always going to be in the back of my mind that it's a possibility that it might not be too likely, but it's certainly a possibility. So again, these a higher being aware of the higher time frames is really going to save you a lot of fucking heartache right now, because a lot of things can happen in this range. We have several things pointing down. We have a few things pointing up now. Let's go put on a couple different indicators over here and kind of see what we can come up with. I want to check out the Trollinger bands, because they must be getting extremely tight right now, which just means that it's more and more likely for Bitcoin to actually break out. Bitcoin is actually fucking around with the median band right here, the good old skid mark at the 20 simple moving average. But again, it's not until you both open and close a daily above it where it starts to imply a test above here. In fact, right here, right now, it's nothing at all. You can see on Monday the Trollinger bands actually got it pretty damn well. You kind of wick down, test the support, and then wick up and test the upper band. Sorry, the lower band and then the upper band. But hey, we really want to be looking at the higher time frames for this baby. The weekly over here, again, no weeklies even remotely in danger of both opening and closing above this median band as of yet. So again, if Bitcoin again closes another weekly below 66.72, which is the median band right here, I mean, it's just going to be at least still another from the Trollinger band. It's going to be at least 2 weeks until you actually confirm a bullish bias. This is just getting more and more tight, which again really doesn't get this. When Bitcoin gets this tight, it doesn't stay here for long. It's if we put on the BB dubs over here, the good old not the kinds from RedTube, but these guys over here, we can see that, hey, historically speaking, whenever Bitcoin gets about this low, it pretty much V bottoms out of this bitch. Although it has been a little bit lower in historical times. Now I should say that every time that it's actually tightened up this tight, it's actually gone up. It's actually provided an up move. So that I think that's naive thing to say though. I don't really want to insinuate that Bitcoin can only go up when it consolidates, is what that'd basically be saying. So I think that's a little bit I think that's a little bit disingenuous to say, but hey, that is what the data is. Let's put these guys back on over here. Let's put on the accumulation distribution indicator, the net delta, the cumulative net delta, and let's see what it's saying as we go over here to stamp. And we have the daily. The daily has lost its negative slope. It is now flatlined, which is just neutral. I don't care about red or green, although it is technically red. This is the 2-day right here, by the way. Daily should be sloped up. Yes, it is. So that would suggest that we are more likely to kind of carry this on a little bit higher. And 3-day is actually sloped down, which we will be getting a new one tonight as well. So things to be aware of over here. Again, the higher time frames are sorry, this is the weekly right here, kind of flatlining. So that's going to be the decider. But we are kind of seeing divergence within that. Again, not the most obvious way to be using this thing, but it is worth mentioning. I suppose it is worth mentioning. So, okay, I think we've covered a lot in this video. My God. Let's talk about Mr. Buteral really quickly. Mr. Buteral, again, the critical level for Mr. Buteral is if he closes a weekly below 195. You do that, and then I do believe that you will very likely, make your way down, into the low 100s actually. But until that happens, it's the same thing as Bitcoin above 6150. It's not, it's not pleasurable to be shorting something that's just been holding for the last 10.5 months. I want to wait for confirmation of that broken, just like I want to wait for confirmation of the upside as well. Daily over here. Daily over here, next big resistance right around 214. It looks like on Finex. If I put on my drawing tools over here, it looks like I am still representing this as a potential broadening wedge over here, although Monday's action really throws that off because the volume on this would not be right. But bear flag over here, broadening wedge over here. It's a little bit better seen on Bit Mexico, but Bit Mexico doesn't necessarily, it's a little bit newer, so I'm not sure how much weight I put on it. Although it's like, how much weight do I put on Finex too? It's a difficult question. But you put in a rising wedge over here, then rising channel, bear flag, and if you were to break out this bear flag to the downside with an 8-hour below 199. That the measure move would actually be pointing you all the way to new lows at around 164, 163-ish area. By the same token, you got your big resistance on MEX at around 206. So be aware of 206. If you do break out above 206, I don't see much stopping you from about 216-ish area. So be aware of that. All right, I think that's probably going to do it for this video. Again, to wrap it up in a few sound bits over here. No break just yet. No break just yet on the exchanges that I think matter most. Although it is hinting, I don't see any sort of bearish divergences on the higher time frames just yet. So that's usually like my big warning signal. If you do break above this guy and confirm above 6450-ish area, I don't see much stopping from about 6500, we'll call it. But again, 6500 needs to be smashed with force. Smashed with force. And when I say force, I mean major volume point in the market. Otherwise, you're gonna be one of the people who got caught with a red dildo in their bunghole right over here, thinking that this was a major breakout. And just like Tone Vase thinking that this is a breakout over here. No, it goes both ways. So again, this is, I guess I'll kind of close this video by stating, hey, this is why it's extremely important not to be married to your fucking position or not to be married to being a bull or a bear. While I do have my ideas, while I do have, several things lining up with lower areas, suggesting lower areas, it's until it actually happens, until you get confirmation on that, they're just that, ideas. And actually there's one last thing I forgot to mention. We'll go to the monthly, just a higher time frame over here. The monthly is still what kind of puts me off as well. You are still being lassoed by this 10 simple moving average over here, the red line, just like you were in 2014. You're dancing around this yellow 21 exponential on very low volume. In fact, again, coming from my background as a market maker in equity options, I look at this and I become extremely apprehensive because in equities, you have a lot of history, so you can actually look at the monthly, but you do have enough history in Bitcoin, I would say. And the 21 exponential, the yellow line, is kind of like my test for generally bullish or generally bearish. If you're above it, generally bullish. You're below it, generally bearish. I mean, just look at over here. When in Bitcoin start its bullish market, major volume spike above the yellow 21 exponential right over here in 2015, and then 3-year bull run over here. And then you have a pair of tweezer tops over here on heavy volume. You resolve that to the downside, consolidate in a triangle from 6,000 to 12,000 right here. Resolve that, break the 10 simple moving average to the downside, and rest on the 10 simple on the 21 exponential moving average right here on a very low volume kind of drift, which to me is consolidating on your lows, which is not a sign of strength, not something that I like to see at all. Although maybe you'd get something like this over here. It's possible. It's fucking possible. But hey, here's kind of the important part to kind of align with one more down thing to kind of end this on a down note, I suppose. If you do break the 6150 support, which is actually where your monthly 21 exponential is. Very interesting, right? Well, what happens after that? Well, this blue 30 simple moving average over here starts to become like a magnet for price action. Where is that? It's around mid 4,000s. So again, pointing towards the mid 4,000s, just kind of wrap up the bearish case. You got the 786 Fibonacci retracement, you got the weekly 200 exponential, you got a couple of horizontals, you got the volume profile, you got the measure move off the potential ascending triangle, which could be negated pretty damn soon. And you have, what else do you have? I think that one wrap. Oh, and also kind of like the bottom support of that 10-year logarithmic trend line, as well as the 30 simple moving average over here, if this were to break. So again, 6150 needs to be broken with force first. Yes, certainly there would be bounces along the way. In fact, we can just kind of map those out right here, right now. And where would they be? Well, your prior low, I'm sure everyone's going to be buying the fucking prior low because that's what you're supposed to do according to, goddamn it, trading books for dummies and shit like that. Then you'd have 5500 level over here, but after that, I don't see much holding you up from there. And I believe that those would just be just bounces, right? Anyways, that's going to do it for this morning stream. I hate to end it on a fucking bearish note. I mean, I do like being a bear. No, don't get me wrong, but again, it can go either way. It can go either way here, and I know that's what people hate about technical analysis. But that's why I give triggers, right? 6150 broken, then yes, that becomes a extremely likely reality. If we break above 6500, then we probably play out another rally. 6750, 6800 would be very, very likely. What happens after that? Well, what happens after that is we just have to reassess and kind of go from there. But that's what I can say with what the opportunities are in this coming week and perhaps coming couple months. So I hope this video finds you well, and I'll see you on a live stream near you soon. Take care.